Hi again, and welcome back. In this video, we'll discuss the multiple pathways that lead research into policymaking. Often, when describing different processes in policymaking, the idea of policy cycle comes up. This video looks at the cycle from the perspective of government policymaking. In this case, the policy cycle can be seen to start with the formation of a government program, progressing to the formulation of government policies, then to the enactment and evaluation of the policies, and after that the enacted policies, such as laws or programs, can then be revisited or renewed. In practice, the cycle ends to new elections and new government negotiations. So the policy cycle starts with the government program, from the policy agenda setting. During government negotiations, policymakers produce the contents of government program. Also, stakeholders such as non-governmental organizations and businesses influence the process. Important agendas such as position of nurses in the labor market or biodiversity are included in the program. The agenda can also be more concrete if the starting point is a solution that policymakers want to see implemented. For example, increasing the budget of nurse education or new law for nature conservation. Traditionally, research is thought to find its way to agenda setting when researchers are consulted in the context of government negotiations. In addition, researchers can bring important perspectives or overlooked social groups into the public debate, for example, through newspaper columns or their own blog posts. These in turn may be included in the government program being prepared or to future government programs. From agenda setting, the cycle moves to policy formulation. In this phase, policymakers in ministries map out options for implementing different government agendas, for example, making legislative changes or budget allocations. They also choose the suitable policy option and then plan how to implement it. Here the access point for research are hearings and written statements, kind of formal channels, for example during legislative processes that happen in ministries, and at the end of the process at the parliament. Researchers give insights on what is known about the issue under planning, what kind of impacts can be expected of the policy solution, or what has been tried elsewhere. These two phases, agenda setting and policy formulation, are especially important for research as they happen at the beginning of the cycle. This makes it possible that research and researchers' expertise are taken into account from the very beginning of policymaking. They can even be the spark that starts the whole process. Describing policy as a cycle can help in understanding how policymaking happens through multiple processes and how research has different access points in different phases. This can be useful in planning your own strategies. For example, what kind of messages is suitable for the ongoing policy work. Luckily, the pathways to policymaking are more versatile than often thought. For example, in Finland, as we are a society with low hierarchy, research findings can be pitched and packaged directly to politicians. This can be useful in important junctions of policymaking, for example when political parties are drafting their programs before elections or when parties move to opposition for the next government period. Another example is directing attention to more versatile publics, such as associations or companies. Having an effect in such wider sectors can affect policymaking when the actors next come in contact with policymakers. So even if your research does not straightforwardly connect to policymaking, or it does not do so in your mind, it does not mean that it could not have an impact on policymaking. So, policy cycle can help you view policymaking as a whole that is built from smaller parts and to imagine and choose pathways that you could use to get research knowledge to policymaking. But remember that the pathways to policymaking are very versatile. And that's it for this video. You'll find more info about different pathways to policymaking in the text. See you again in the next video.